Thank you for welcoming us to Cashel Palace today. Delighted to be here, and the place is looking amazing as always. You can actually breathe in the 5-star air. I'll have to take a few gulps before I leave. So just a little bit about the story of the hotel, I suppose, if you can give us a bit of a background on what the hotel is all about.
I would love to. It's my favourite thing to do. So the building itself dates back to 1732. So it's a very historic building. It has a lot of history. It was built for the Archbishops of Cashel and Emly, and it was basically their residence here. They formerly lived up at the Rock of Cashel, and were based in Kildare, I believe, was the Bishop's Palace, but then they felt they needed their base here, so they built this beautiful palace as their home, and they would go up through our gardens and up through the Bishop's Walk to say Mass above at the Rock of Cashel.
Okay.
And then it stayed with the Church of Ireland, so the clergy, for over 200 years, about 230 years, and then in 1962 it was turned into a hotel. It was bought privately in 1959 by Lord Brockett, and he opened it as a hotel in 1962. So it's been welcoming guests as a hotel since then, over a number of hoteliers and owners over the decades, including Vincent O'Brien, actually, who is Mrs. Magner's father, our current proprietor. So there's links to the family history here too, which is nice. And then at the end of 2015 into 2016, Mr. and Mrs. John and Susan Magner bought it. Luckily for the building, I think, and luckily for us, because they've invested emotionally, financially, in every way in this beautiful historic building. And we now have a magnificent boutique 5-star property here, right in the heart of the town, providing a lot of employment and welcoming guests from all over Ireland and all over the world. So it's a really good story.
And how many rooms are in the hotel?
42. So it's a boutique style property in terms of the accommodation offering. The original building, the original main house of the palace only ever had 12 bedrooms, and it still only has 12 bedrooms. But we restored some rooms on the Arrival Avenue. So as you come up the gated Arrival Avenue, there's a lovely historic schoolhouse, which was a schoolhouse for the town. And that's a 2-bedroom unit. Now we have a lovely historic gate lodge, and that's a bedroom. And then the carriage house, which is a former stables, there's bedrooms there. And then in addition to those older buildings that were fully restored, in line with conservation architects, because the main house and those buildings are listed, we added on a brand new wing, the garden wing of rooms. So there's 19 bedrooms in there, including 4 very spacious suites. So so now we have 42 bedrooms.
And what else is there?
There's a few USPs. One that I really like is the Town and Country, because it is an old world manor style property, but it's located right in the heart of Cashel town. So our guests can drive here or be dropped here by their private drivers, as some of them do arrive in, and then they can walk downtown to visit the little boutiques, the coffee shops, the pubs that are on our doorstep, and they love that. But equally at the same time in the evening or during the day, they can go out into our garden terrace. And it's really serene, it's very quiet. You're looking up at the Rock of Cashel, so it has that lovely countryside feel. So that's one of my favourite things about the property. The other thing is the wealth of food and beverage outlets.
Yes.
We are a food empire. We're very, very lucky. For 42 bedrooms, we now have 5 kitchens operating under executive chef Stephen Hayes. So we've got our 1 Michelin star Bishop's Buttery in the cellars, magnificent restaurant, and that's really, really nice. And the guys and the teams there, front of house and in the kitchen, won their Michelin star in February, so we're very proud of them. Yeah, well deserved, I might add. Beautiful food and lovely service. And then we've got a more casual, relaxed bistro in Mikey Ryan's, which is a standalone bistro. It opened before the hotel. The Magners had bought that just before they bought the hotel, or around the same time, but obviously it was a faster opening to redesign that and open it as a gastropub. So that's really popular with locals and with our guests. And then we have our Queen Anne room, which is in the original main building, and that's our breakfast kitchen and breakfast restaurant. And we also serve lovely afternoon tea and light bites there. Then we have the Guinness bar downstairs, which does tea, coffee and fabulous scones. And we have, and of course, Sir Guinness. And we have links to the whole Guinness history as well, which is nice, because one of the first archbishops was the godfather of Arthur Guinness. So we have loads of lovely stories there.
Yeah.
And then we have the residence cocktail bar. So if you feel like some nice champagne or cocktails or Middleton whiskey or our own Tipperary gin, that's the place to go. And then we have the ballroom kitchen, which takes care of our banqueting and also takes care of the orangery, which is a kind of a pre-banqueting area where we can serve lovely private afternoon teas and lunches. And then we have Sadler's, which is our newest restaurant. So that is based out in Feathered, where we have a little equine museum as well, Feathered Horse Country Experience, that's under our umbrella. Lovely. And then we have, and that's on the doorstep to Coolmore Stud. And of course we send a lot of people out there with our equine concierge. So it's a little ecosystem, but a lot of it is food related.
Yes.
And luckily for us, we're in the Golden Vale of Tipperary, and we work with all of the Tipperary Food Producers Network, and there's amazing food here. So we're really lucky, yeah. So food is a big part of our business, yeah.
And you have the spa as well.
We also have the spa, so yeah. And we're really lucky that we have that. And we're in this beautiful Bolton library at the moment. So one of the archbishops was Archbishop Bolton, and he had a very famous library. I believe that's now in the University of Limerick, but it used to be here in this building. So to honour him, we've created this beautiful space. This is near our spa and wellness centre, and we do use this room sometimes as well for yoga and Pilates and nice relaxing Zen things.
Lovely.
But the spa is magnificent. It's a brand new state-of-the-art indoor-outdoor pool, sauna, steam room, 2 outdoor seaweed baths, experience showers, and lovely treatment rooms, a fitness studio, relaxation room. And we've got lovely product ranges. We've got Voya for the outdoor seaweed baths, which is Irish. And then we've Bamford and we've Valmont. So yeah, lots of nice things to do.
I'm never leaving. I'll have to be evicted after this. So I suppose you've kind of told us a little bit, but what would you say are your core brand values? And as the sales and marketing director of the property, how does that influence how you operate the sales and marketing function here?
I think our core brand values are to be, like, we have a tagline that says a place of notable hospitality. So our core value is to go back to that authentic Irish hospitality, obviously in a 5-star setting, to exceed the guest expectation, to provide a warm welcome, to be kind to our guests and to everybody we interact with, all of our partners and all of our colleagues. So our core brand value is that kind of authentic hospitality. Even way back before it became a hotel, this was obviously a beautiful house that people would visit when they travelled through Ireland. And there is a little quote that says that this is a place of notable hospitality in a writing from a chap called Loveday way back in the 1700s. So that's where that whole concept of a notable hospitality came from, but it really tied in with our ethos and I suppose our general manager and our owners. They want it to be a place of authentic hospitality. Another brand value would be to be a part of our community. That would be a very big part of it, and I suppose to include the community in terms of being, as well as being an employer, obviously. And we have now 300 staff on our books, which is significant for such a small boutique property. Yes. But to be a part of the community, so obviously we're using all the local suppliers. I think since we've opened, there's 2 new lovely coffee shops in town. There's some boutiques in town. We know that when we host weddings, of course, we don't have a big bedroom count. So if we have a big wedding of 200, they all have to book the local hotels here and the Airbnbs and, the guest houses. So we're hoping that we're achieving our mission in being a part of the community. And a big part of my job is to promote the destination of Tipperary, you know, and we're doing our best to work with partners in terms of building activities like Rossa Pottery here. You can make your own pottery, which is lovely. And they're a 2nd generation potter, Alan and his wife Sarah. They have a lovely shop in town. And to build other things like our own equine activities, we're also under the Thoroughbred Country umbrella, which is Tipperary and Kildare. So we have our own equine experiences, but we work with our partners, Crossogue Equestrian and Tipperary Mountain Trekking. And there's so many more here on our doorstep as well. It's about giving our guests things to do that will ensure that they enjoy Tipperary and that they stay in the county for longer, which is my main mission in life.
Yes.
So we're building things slowly but surely. We have a lovely new e-bike experience with Rob from Loughdurg e-bikes all around Feathered, and it's castles and culture, and it's really lovely. Really lovely.
I saw your video.
We did a video
recently.
for it recently. It was brilliant.
And actually, it's not often that you watch a full video.
Yeah.
I watched that. I watched that full one because it was just so like, I was like, you got sucked into it.
Usually in sales, you don't have enough time to do all the things that you're trying to promote.
Yes.
I mean, I've yet to have a seaweed bath, to be honest, even though I love it and I'm upselling it all the time. But before we filmed the e-bike video, we did actually go out on a little recce with Rob so we could understand the route he was taking our guests on, and I loved it. We were there on the e-bike, no energy needed, up the hills and down the dales, clicking the buttons. But it was just seeing the countryside of Tipperary is so beautiful, and there were very quiet roads. Some roads are busy now, but beautiful quiet roads passing these historic castles, and it was lovely. Yeah,
because it's all about the experience now, isn't it? It's
not enough. Yeah. No, to have a beautiful hotel is not enough. I mean, for the Irish domestic customer, sometimes it is enough because they just want to get away from their busy lives and they want to do the spa, they want to do the Michelin star restaurant, or they want to go to Mikey's, or they want to come. We also, I forgot to mention earlier, we have the Secret Garden at the back of Mikey Ryan's, and we've Donoghue's Irish Pub. So they're private venues that go together, and a lot of people book them for day twos of weddings, or they book them for their birthday parties. But we also open them every Monday and Thursday nights to our individual hotel guests. We have a live Irish trad music session every Monday night, and on Thursday nights live music as well. That can be any kind of music, and they've been very popular. So that's another thing. On a Monday we're trying to encourage people to do that, and it's just been great because the locals are enjoying that now. They know there's music there every Monday and Thursday, so that's really good. Yeah, so loads and loads to do.
Very good. And as you know, with Arrow Digital Strategy, we specialise in independent hotels, and I suppose that's always been our niche. And as an independent hotel, so you're obviously working hugely with the community, but how do you think being independent influences your business strategy here?
I think it influences us in a way. Firstly, as an independent hotel, you can be a lot more agile, so you can be very quick kind of to decide on something and make it happen within reason, obviously within budget and within reason. So if you're a part of a larger chain, I'm sure there's a lot of levels to get sign off on various initiatives that you might want to try, whereas your independent business, you can try things and you have a little bit of flexibility. But because you are an independent smaller hotel, the budgets are usually tight, and you have to be very smart with who you're going to align yourselves with, because you don't want to make the wrong strategic partnership and kind of go, these guys are not maximising the revenue that we need to be a viable business and to keep everybody in their jobs. So I think as an independent business, you have to be very careful with who you pick to partner with. Like our alliances, obviously with Arrow, but even with our marketing affiliations, Relais and Châteaux, with Ireland's Blue Book, with Thoroughbred Country. I mean, they all suit our story. Yes. Like Relais and Châteaux is very well recognised internationally, and when you're a small standalone brand, you need some kind of international recognition for the international visitors that are coming to us and the international travel trade community that are booking us. They understand the level that Relais and Châteaux properties are at, and they understand the food premise, and it is hugely food focused, Relais and Châteaux. And the same with Ireland's Blue Book. They have a really, and domestically, internationally, but also domestically, I think people understand Ireland's Blue Book means a certain level of quality, and again, that privately owned, that it's not a chain, that it's not going to be a boring property or a standard kind of corporate style property.
Yes, yeah.
But you do have to align yourself with people that are very much, that people can understand why you're aligned with them. Like if we were aligned with somebody that was more corporate, maybe it wouldn't make as much sense. Yeah. Yeah, but I think the luxury high-end brands and those that work with the smaller independent brands that understand their challenges and their opportunities are good, really good for us.
So in terms of your strategic partnerships, you're obviously Relais and Châteaux, Ireland's Blue Book,
Thoroughbred Country,
and the relationship with Arrow. Yeah. And how, I suppose, firstly, the hotel didn't originally start working with Arrow, but what was the impetus to look for a digital partner?
So we started out quite unusually with our own website, which was and it still is a very nice. Like I loved the website. It was designed by one gentleman, and Seamus, my colleague, our online manager, who's a genius, was, in fairness to him, managing the back end of that and doing updates and so on, and learning as he went along and how to do it. But then we had a booking engine that was provided by Relais and Châteaux, by Nexus, which was fine, and it served our purpose at the start. To be fair, it got us up, it got us running, but we quite quickly identified that we needed a booking engine that was a lot more agile and that showed the 7-day calendar grid and would be easier to navigate for our guests who are browsing the website, and even our website, to make it more user-friendly, to showcase the various locations, because we are a boutique property, but we've 11 different room types, and we've, as I've mentioned, 3 different locations. So you need to kind of share the story of where you're going to stay, depending on what type of room type you book, or it's a little bit more intricate than just having 42 standard bedrooms.
Yes.
And for us, the website is a big part of that story, to get people to understand what we offered and to be able to book it easily without too much confusion. So we identified that the website booking engine and then enhancing the website would do that for us and would increase the conversions in terms of people browsing. They were looking, but then, and they were booking, it was working, but we were getting into our reservations, we were getting a lot of phone calls, and the team would be spending time explaining about our rooms and the locations and how to book and what to book, and maybe did they want to try and upsell over the phone to 2 nights versus what the website was showing. So yeah, that was the key driver. We wanted a booking engine that was more user friendly and that would convert more and make more money for us, basically, like all of these decisions.
Absolutely. And save time as well.
Time. Be more efficient, be more, because we have a small team, relatively speaking, we have a lot of staff on our books, but we have a small sales and marketing and reservations team behind the scenes. So for the website to be able to convert and for people to be able to book, which I know people do love a phone call, and we're there for that. We love chatting to them as well and talking them through it. But a lot of people like the efficiency of going on the website, getting the room booked, and that being an easy 5-star experience.
Yes.
And from my mind, it needed to be a better experience than it was, because we are 5-star and we want it to be a good experience from the start. So that was a big driver for us, but it has hugely saved on the phone calls.
Time,
and guests' time, and it has resulted in more conversions.
Yeah, very good.
So it achieved its goal. We're delighted.
Yeah. Well, you've probably answered my next question, which is, what has it achieved?
Oh, it has. Oh, it has so achieved that. It really has. It has achieved that, and it's good actually. Because, as I say, we're a small team, and it's Seamus as our online manager. He does everything. He's unbelievable. We're lucky. He's so talented, but he has a lot on his plate, because we're into Seamus every other day going, can you design this graphic design for me? Can you do a new PDF for me? Can you do XYZ for me? Can you come out here and share your fabulous personality with this visiting group? And he has to do all those lovely things. But he's only one person, and we need other people's expertise as well. People who are doing it day and night for a living, like managing these booking engines behind the scenes and understanding if we make one tiny little tweak or if we do something that will result in much better results for us. So we do need that expertise, and it's great for us to be able to learn from Arrow, because they're doing that. That's their sole focus in life. Our sole focus is many
Everything.
things.
Yes.
So it's great to have that support and to know that we can ask Arrow, can we do this? Like at the moment, we're looking at trying to tweak our weddings, because we do some weddings here, but we block off the rooms, and because we have so many different rooms, it's quite time consuming for our wedding team and our reservations team to be allocating and assigning and discussing. Whereas now we're looking at refining that so that the guests who are invited to a wedding will be able to book themselves.
Perfect.
And those kind of things that we can't do if we're all by ourselves. We just wouldn't be able to do it. We wouldn't have that capacity. So it's great to have a partner who's on the same page.
And I suppose it's with a previous partner, you'd be a small fish in a big pond.
Yes.
Whereas for Arrow, you're a big fish in a small pond.
Exactly. Yeah.
The partnership means so much to Arrow, because Arrow also is a small business.
And they're emotionally invested in our success as we are. You know, and I love that. I love that it's a small team, and I know Arrow for a long time, and that was one of the key drivers for going with them in the first place. we did a little research because you have to, due diligence to present to our GM and our financial controller. But we had very strong arguments to go with Arrow, and I'm really happy that we did and that we pushed for that, because it's about trust as well for me. I mean, you spend a lot of time investigating these things and saying what's the best thing to do, but you really have to trust the partner that you end up with, and I totally trusted Arrow. Even before we started working with them, I know how good they are. So, that's good.
Yes, yeah.
That's half the battle.
And as you say, when you've got, literally as a director of sales, you have a million things to do. Yeah. It's just nice to know, that box is ticked, or they've got our back.
Yeah, exactly. They're in our corner, and I know they're going to try and do the right thing for us at all times.
Yeah.
So that's brilliant.
And I suppose your success is our success as well, because of the type of relationship that there is. The more bookings that come through,
it's a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. For you personally, the having the booking engine and the ease of use was probably, so I'm answering your own question now. Yeah. What do you think has been the biggest benefit so far? And it's still quite an early relationship, so it's still evolving, I know.
Yeah, but even already we can see huge jumps, when we're looking at the statistics, and we will be obviously creating a whole document and an overview to go back to our GM and the financial controller to say, look, this is what we wanted and this is what we've achieved. So that'll be coming soon. But even at a quick glance, when we were looking at it the other day, this time last year our booking engine was converting 0.6 and we're now up to 1.7.
Fantastic.
And more spend, and it's just that that's only that part of it. As we said, the biggest thing for us is, I feel, that the guest is getting a better experience when they visit us and our shop front, which is our shop front. Yeah. It's showcasing everything we offer.
Yeah.
They can now navigate that booking engine much easier. They can see the 1 night, 2 night, 3 night packages, whatever they're interested in staying in. They can see that 7-day view, whereas if they go, I can see they're sold out on Saturday, but why don't I go Wednesday? Then we have a few rooms, and that was really important for me. So I'm glad we've achieved that. I know there's still loads more to do. You're always in every hotel, no matter how long you're open, as I've learned.
Yes.
You're always tweaking and always trying to refine it, from the guest experience to the team's experience, to support the team in ways. And this has been a huge help to support our reservations team. Even when they themselves are actually on the website looking through it, it's good for them. They can navigate it easier than the guests are ringing. So it's a win-win. But there's still loads more to achieve, and I know we will with Arrow. I know there's loads more to do. I know they're always learning, which is what I like.
Yes.
They're not a company that are like, right, okay, we do what we do. We do a booking engine, here you go. They're always going, we're doing this leader program, and we're going to, help you understand what's going on in the industry and give you the insights, because they have the insights. They're working with more than just one hotel. We're only working with one hotel. So we can only see our own information. Whereas,
and that's the independent kind of, I suppose it's possibly the downside of being an independent. There's so many fantastic sides, as we both well know. But you don't have the millions of colleagues and that kind of...
No, and you don't have the luxury of having one person solely dedicated to the website or that side of the business. I mean, Seamus has to do it all.
And I suppose from an operations perspective, in a property like this with so many food and beverage outlets, getting as much booked in advance for your customers, your guests I should say, as possible means that you can plan. Yeah,
it's vital, really. It's vital for us. So we're just to get all the bookings in, and we have a system in place whereby as soon as the website bookings come through, the team and reservations get those notifications, and then they populate the booking in our PMS, the property management system behind the scenes, and then they have a system where they do a pre-call straight away. So they try and get the dining in place and the spa in place, the spa in particular, because it is a boutique style spa, and we don't want people to be disappointed. So we try to get those held, and the restaurants as well are very popular. So we just want to make sure that the guests are going to get what it is they want in terms of the time, or that their preferred restaurants. So
it's managing the whole experience before they step foot.
And sometimes people are reluctant to do that, and even I myself, I'm a bit of a last minute merchant. That's just my personality, because usually I'm too busy actually to think about my own personal stays, or I'm like, I'll deal with that when I get there, I'll book the dinner when I get there. And people are, and you know,
And
they're
have you
like,
found yourself in McDonald's from time to time?
yeah, because you're like, then you arrive and you're like, what about dinner? And they're like, we're full. I'm like, right. Because you know, when you go to the airport, you always envisage that you're going to be the only one.
Yes.
You're the only one going through check-ins
Yeah.
and you're going to have a lovely stay. And then you get there and it's like thronged.
Yeah.
So yeah, in my mind, it's always just the restaurants will be waiting for me. But we are lucky that our outlets are so busy and we know that.
Yes.
And the guest who's coming to us doesn't necessarily know that. They think that's grand. I'll book that when I check in, and we're like, no, we are going to help you. We're going to
Maximise your experience.
Yeah, just to make sure that it is seamless, and then it's an opportunity for us to get in touch with them and find out a little bit more. Sometimes now, in fairness, our booking engine has been brilliant, and actually the team at Arrow were great because they asked us what questions we wanted to ask our guests before they got to us, in terms of the things that we were finding. We didn't have the information until too late, or not too late, obviously you can still do something about it, but things like, do you want a twin bedded room? Do you, can we have your second guest name?
Yeah.
All of those very small things that people don't think of giving at the time of booking, but that makes the experience here much more seamless, because then we have the twin bed situation ready.
Yeah.
We can address both parties. You know, we can write welcome notes and welcome cards correctly.
Yes.
Instead of just assuming that it's Mr. and Mrs. or Mr. and Mr. or whatever. We have all the names, or the children's names, their ages. You know, that's all really important. Special occasions, if they're celebrating something, dietary requirements, things that, you know.
That level of detail.
Yes,
it's the difference between a good stay and an amazing stay, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So it's been very helpful for us to modify what we wanted to ask our guests in terms of the questions that we ask them ourselves all the time, and that we were able to get that when they booked. So it hopefully makes their stay a little bit more enjoyable, which was our goal.
Yes. Yeah. And it makes the whole operation a bit more efficient as well.
It does, because we're at the front line, I suppose, in terms of talking to the guests first and meeting them. And then our colleagues in operations have to deliver, you know, on all of these lovely promises that I've made in sales, or that our website is making, or, you know, that we're fabulous, you're going to love it.
Yeah.
But in order for the guests to really love it, at that starting point, the starting point of the reservation journey, you know, they're going to need to know in the kitchen that this person is celiac, or that this person is allergic to shellfish or peanuts or whatever, because, you know, that would have a serious impact on their stay if they didn't. Yeah. And the fact that we have all that noted and they don't have to make a big drama about it in the restaurant, even, you know, for breakfast or whatever, is nice.
Yeah. And I imagine that would be for all the Relais and Châteaux properties, would probably be, because they're such foodie destinations.
Yes.
That level of detail is essential.
Yeah, and we put, like, if there's junior guests coming, we put the little cookies in, and sometimes we monogram it. So if we know the names, we can do that. If we don't know the names, we can't. So it's just making it a little. It's all, I suppose, another one of our real brand values is trying to personalise the stay as much as we possibly can. And I know all 5 stars do try to do that, but. You know, we're lucky because we're boutique, and you have the opportunity to try and do that in a hotel of this size. Yes. That all of the staff will know that XYZ is coming, and that, you know, Jamie is 9 and Sophie is 10 or whatever. Yeah. So that is nice. I like that level of personalisation for them. Or, like, we do a fresh pastry in every room on day of arrival every day, and they change that every few weeks, so it's something different all the time. But that information about whether a person is a celiac or not is vital, because you can't be sending up an eclair. That's going to, you know, it's not going to go down
ruin their stay.
So then we have a modified version of that pastry for them. Very good. Yeah.
And so tell me, in terms of the voucher side of things, that was...
Actually, that's a very good point. And that was another reason that we wanted to change our booking engine as well, because we needed a new voucher platform. So again, when we started, we had a partner. It was fine. It went fine. We were able to sell vouchers, and that was all good. But like we identified fairly early on, it wasn't optimal. Yes. It wasn't really performing to its maximum capacity. And it was quite clunky as well, in terms of taking a lot of time from our staff, because they'd have to enter it on one side and enter it on another side, and all of this boring technology interaction stuff.
Yes, taking them away from guests.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was one thing we identified that we needed a new partner and a booking engine for as well. So now it's all seamless. It's all done as well through Arrow and our vouchers. So that's great. It's great to see it. And even the add-ons, if you're booking a room, there's some upsells and add-ons, so you can add nice things to your room if you want to. We have more work to do on that. Like, we're by no means finished. It's just to find the time.
Yes.
But there's lots more I'm excited about adding on to that. Adding your into the future, maybe your spa treatment. Now, because it's such a boutique spa, we want to make sure that that's going to be manageable.
But it's like that, like you're saying there about the learning and developing.
Yeah.
Like that's how Arrow learns and develops as
Yeah.
well as feedback from, you take it from your customers,
Yes.
and then we understand from you what we need to do, and
Yeah.
be
They're
able to
great.
implement the small things that
Yeah.
we know make a huge difference to the experience of our customers and their guests.
Yeah, that's it for sure. Like this wedding platform now giving people their own code to be able to book, you know, a stay. And that's something we weren't able to do before. Even like we have a very small corporate base, but we do have some lovely corporate clients. So we want to be able to send them out a nice e-sign every now and then and give them their own special booking code for whatever we're creating. And we weren't able to do that before, to add a code into our booking engine so that people had a dedicated rate.
Yeah, and I imagine with those kind of things, like I imagine probably with corporates and the wedding market, there tend to be kind of a younger demographic.
Yeah. Oh, and they love digital. Like,
yes, they don't want to be talking to somebody. Yeah.
One of our biggest problems with the not a problem, challenge.
Yes.
It's a challenge with some of the weddings is that firstly they're younger and they're working during the day. So when our team are trying to contact them for their details and even their credit cards to secure the bookings or whatever, we can't catch them, and then they phone back later in the evening when our team are finished, and this would go round and round in circles, and we'd be annoying them by chasing them, you know, in a way that we don't want to be doing.
No.
So they love digital, and the easier the better, and they have control then over their booking and their room, and we have the communication. We can communicate with them then via our platforms. But the guests coming to the international weddings, that was the real crux of the issue, because they're 8 hours behind or 10 hours behind or whatever hours behind, and we were always trying to, like, what time is it in their country now, before we ring them and ask them what they want and what's going on. And so that was becoming a bit of a problem for us as well in terms of the wedding rooms and you know, other guests coming. So but you're always trying to find things that'll enhance, I think, the guest's experience and their interaction with us. We want them to think that from the outset we are an intelligent, kind, and, you know, easy hotel to work with.
Yes, I was trying to remember your notably.
No, a place of notable hospitality. A place of notable hospitality from the very start. Not somebody who's like trying to ring them 6 times a day to get their details. That's irritating for them, I'm sure. And you know, it's just inefficient.
And I think as well, it's so much part of the experience for people now is even though everybody's busy and things like that, but it might be, as you say, it's on the Sunday night or Saturday night when someone has the time. And if they can start looking through the website and imagining their experience, you know, that's part of the actual stay almost in their mind, is that they can start building up what am I going to do, and it's essential to have your shop window that can do that for you.
Absolutely. And I mean, a website is a never-ending, it's like your own house, it's like a never-ending journey of like, and then you're like, oh, is that on the website? And you're like, oh no, we need to have that now. And then it's like, okay, back to Arrow, let's go. And you know, we have really changed. Even we're only open 2.5 years, not even 2.5 years, and we have changed the website now, obviously hugely with Arrow's help, because we've changed it. It's a similar look and feel, which we loved from the start.
Beautiful,
we really liked the design features of it, but it's just much more user friendly, and as I say, easier for us to be able to do the odd little tweak from the back end, so it's not an arduous process. And that's very helpful, that you're using a platform that, you know, we can go in.
And it's a fine line, I think, as well, you know, when you're from a 5-star property, it has to look and feel 5-star and glamorous, but it also has to have the functionality, and I think that's where, because Arrow specialise in 4- and 5-star properties, they have the balance between, you know, getting the sale made, or, you know, the transaction made, but also selling the brand experience, which is, as a 5-star hotel, probably almost more important.
It has to look right. It has to look right. But of course, it can look right all at once. If it doesn't
sell anything,
if it doesn't actually perform, then we're like, oh, what about all these empty bedrooms? No. It does have to look right, and we're lucky because there's even small little things that they have recommended that we do. We've given them what we want, and then they go, well, we think you should maybe highlight this so it'll stand out, like our little vouchers, or, you know, so that's good. It's a good
collaboration,
meeting of minds, because we're all like, it needs to look this way and on brand and all this, and then they're like, well, yes, but for functionality and for your guests
Saleability, yeah.
to click and to click through and to go the whole way through the journey, then this is what you should do. So that's good.
Yeah, because I suppose as hoteliers we tend to be probably quite visual and want it to look amazing, and it's to get the balance between the functionality and the visual. So
we've been lucky. We're very pleased. I have to say we're very pleased with it now so far.
Very good. Yeah, and a way to go yet. And it's changing every day anyway, as you said. So.
Every day there's a different. Yeah, and it's good. It's good. It's kind of interesting, you know. It's I think people don't think about hotels in terms of all of the technologies that are involved behind the scenes. They obviously see the service being delivered. Yeah, that's a very visual part of it, and they think of hotels as like, you know, going in for your afternoon tea or going for dinner, staying in the hotel, using the spa. But behind the scenes, you know, there's a lot going on. Yeah,
the amount of systems actually is mind-blowing now, isn't
mind-blowing. Yeah. Mind-blowing. And all of the different ones trying to talk to each other. Yes. And, you know, like, but it's come a long way. I mean, you know, even live availability, taking, you know, the room inventory out. Yes. I mean, it's
like, they should never have to think that, you know, there's a person standing at a computer here doing some functionality thing, you know, they should just be kind of...
Yeah, it should be seamless. It should be...
Yeah, and it really is getting to that, I think, in hotels, and at this standard, it has to be.
Oh no, it has to be. Yeah, it has to be, and it is interesting. You'd love to give it loads of the time, but you're distracted by 101 different things. But it is interesting the way it's all changing and how they all interact now. My next goal in life is for Arrow to build a CRM for us all.
Oh, okay. I think that's on the list there somewhere, probably.
You can do it, guys. I know you can.
Yeah, there's a special request there.
No pressure.
So tell me after, it's quickly changing the subject now. Just in case that's never going to happen. How many years is the hotel open?
Since March 2022.
Okay.
So 2 and March... July, 2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 2.5 years,
So in terms of the sales and marketing side, obviously you're a seasoned hotelier.
Wizened.
You're a wizened hotelier.
I'm a wizened.
But what particularly, like in this type of property, in this location, obviously that's all new to you and an opening as well. Yeah. What have you learned? What advice would you give to yourself the day you walked into Cashel Palace, if you, looking back now 2.5, 3 years later?
Yeah.
Not run.
No. I suppose in hindsight, I would have changed the booking engine earlier. Obviously, I would have.
Good answer.
Yeah, no, I would have, because you know. But I suppose you have to work with something to understand. Yeah. Until you know that it wasn't working to its optimum, and then you have you can do something about it then, which is a good position to be in as well, I suppose. Yeah. So probably would have maybe looked at that side of it a little bit more. At the very start, it's very hard when you're pre-opening, I think, because you don't have revenue coming in, obviously, as a business. So a part of me would say, well, if I had my time back over, I would have hired the res team and the events team sooner than they were in situ. Now, they were here before we opened. They were here a good 4 months, maybe, 3 or 4 months before we opened. They all started kind of December, November, before we opened in March. But because they weren't in situ at that time, I myself was kind of, the person. And I actually really enjoyed it because I got to, meet our brides and grooms and our potential guests and bookers. But that takes you away from the strategy side of it and who are going to be our strategic partners next year. How can we make it more efficient? But I think you probably have to work in a business and go through it a little bit. Yeah, and then you really understand it, and then you probably understand it better. Where you can make and the differences. I suppose even the wedding couples and all that, you have to understand the product that you're offering, and by the end of it, I did very well because I was offering it to them. But you are kind of busy then. You're really busy in the weeds. Yes. Whereas you probably need to step out a little bit and kind of go, right, okay, strategically we want to do this many shows next year to reach this target audience, or, what are we going to do for the domestic audience versus the international audience, and build the team, and as well as build the team. Who do we need, and what do we need, and what technologies do we need?
Yes, yeah, and I think it's that strategy. I mean, that's the job, isn't it? I mean, you could spend all day, every day, chasing your tail, but if you're not keeping your eye on the developments down the line, this, what can we be doing? How can we grow? Then you're just chasing your tail.
Chasing your tail, and then you have to dedicate the time, because for me, the reason I'm in the job in the first place, and I always have been in the job, is the relationships. So when I moved from the operation side into sales, like, I missed the guests, but I was like, right, I'll still have relationships, because then you're building them with your partners, the travel advisors and our DMCs and our tour operators and everybody, and all the local partners that we're now working with. So I like that part of it. But sometimes when you're in the weeds here, you don't have the time to give them. You're like, I need to get up to Dublin, I need to meet them all and see them, or I need to get to the States to meet them, or I need to,
Yes, yeah.
And how important they are to the business, or the type of business that you want to bring in.
Yeah. And it still is a relationship business, isn't it?
Yeah, hugely.
Yeah. And hugely. I mean, even with the partnership with Arrow, that's why we have partnerships with people, because for Arrow, it is a long-term relationship as well. Yeah. Like they when you start out with a new partner, it could be up to kind of 2 or 3 years before it becomes a profitable. Because of the amount of investment that Arrow puts in at the beginning. Yeah. So that's where the long-term strategic relationships are so key to what Arrow does. Yeah. And having partners that we trust and rely on as well, which is certainly the case with Cashel Palace.
Yes, totally. No, I mean, I'm a big fan of Arrow, and I was an even bigger fan when they brought you on board and when they brought Seamus on board as well. So I loved them before, but they definitely helped their cause.
I hope you got that on camera as well.
That really helped me along. And because you do business with people you like, and you want to work with them.
Yes.
And you trust them.
And they care, and that you're important to them, and you trust
them,
and vice versa. So tell us, so lots of future plans. Is there anything?
Yeah, we've got so many future plans. It's just to get them all done, really.
Yeah.
I suppose we just have to get on with the day-to-day operation of filling the hotel, the outlets, the spa. That is the bottom line all the time. We have to do that.
Yeah.
But there's loads of more things that we need to build with our partners locally for the destination, of course. So I'll be always looking at that. We're actually looking at building a kind of a corporate, like that executive team kind of corporate team building, but because we suit the smaller, like the board, like 10 people, and build in executive coaching, and mindfulness and conversations in nature. So because we're here in the countryside as well, it's easy to do that.
Yes.
So we're working on that. We've just kind of launched a small little package called the Solo Sojourn, which is nice. So building those small little packages for just that one is kind of geared more towards, I suppose, the female solo traveller who might just need the time out.
Yeah.
And that we've had little good pick up on that, which was nice, and even a few publications picked up on that, which is nice because there is a new kind of trend towards that solo travel.
Yes.
But hotels, because of our nature, we need to maximise the revenue, and the bedrooms is built on a double occupancy or a twin occupancy rate. So I suppose it's just kind of tweaking the current offering in line with the trends.
Yes.
And identifying those and trying to use them, I suppose, when, in the winter and the low season and midweek when we need them, and still give people a really nice experience when we know that it's something they're looking for. So trying to stay up with those. Because we have the ballroom, obviously we're going to be trying to create our own events into the future. So that is going to be interesting, because running events is interesting anyway. We have a New Year's Eve gala ball, for example, so that's going to be for our hotel residents, but also for locals.
I might have checked out by then. I can always come back though.
You can ring in the new year. So those things are keeping us entertained. Collaborations, like doing things like we did an offsite event this year with Leopardstown. So I suppose, next year working with industry partners as well. I'd love to do some equine related international events next year where you promote the brand of thoroughbred country, but Ireland as well. And all of the partners here. The destination weddings is very interesting because Ireland is becoming more popular as a destination wedding experience, and that kind of suits our business, to be honest. So that's exciting, because we haven't really, we are working in that space, but we haven't really gone after it. So
yeah. You're kind of getting into that whole experiential side.
Yeah,
which
it's all about the experience.
It is.
It is. Like the hotel is here, it's beautiful, we're lucky.
Yes.
It's fabulous, and we have a great team, so that's all good. But it's just like that, identifying what business now suits this business best.
Yes.
And then making sure that we're visible to them.
Absolutely.
So they can find us.
And hopefully Arrow can help you to do that as much as possible. Yeah. Very good. Well, thank you very much for your time. And
I hope I made some sense.
You made loads of sense, absolutely loads of sense. And I think you've answered all my questions beautifully, as always, Karen. And on behalf of the team at Arrow, just thank you for working with us. It's a really important partnership for Arrow as well, because of the type of property that it is, the level that it's at. It's, Cashel Palace is the ideal partner for Arrow, along with all our other partners, of course.
We're a very good company, in fairness. I've looked at your client list, and I like that you do look at the company to see who you're working with, and I know we're in good company. So
well, when it's a small business, it's relationships. You have to be able to work with the team on the other side, and otherwise it just doesn't work. No. So hopefully it'll be a long and very positive association.
I hope so.
So far,
I know so.
Yeah.
I know so.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.